and this usually disappears, but it's not disappearing now. So let me pull up. Here we go. This is being so strange. I've never seen it do this kind of stuff before. Anyone have any insight into why Word is doing what it's doing here? What's that? I can't hear. Okay, if you want to, come on up. Okay. Here are the. Oops. Okay.
I work under Mr. Mankiewicz.
What's that?
I work under Mr. Mankiewicz, Jim, on the Birmingham campus.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. He told me to let you know that.
Okay, that's one of the things. Leave that up. Do this one. Oops. Okay, that one's good. Do that one. And then, yeah, now it's doing right. Okay. Go back to this again. It looks like it. No, it's not. Okay, I want that one. Okay. That one right there. That one. Good. Thank you so much. All right. I saw a whole bunch of junk out there. Is that what was maybe the problem?
It's mainly looking at you. That's actually one of the overviews we had in office.
That's right.
I said that's actually one of the overviews we had in office. I think you got that last year.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the overviews. I can ask you today and see what.
Okay, after class, if you could, if you hang around a minute, we'll see if we can clean something up here, if that's the issue. Okay. Okay. Yeah. You're going to think this whole guy is falling apart, and you're probably right. I'm having trouble seeing right now because I had a cataract removed in this eye more than 9 years ago, and it's distance vision, and it's great. This one wasn't bad until recently, and now I can't read a thing, and glasses don't help because it's a cataract. I'm scheduled for the removal the second Thursday in June, I think is when they scheduled me. So I will, hopefully that will be corrected. But right now I'm having trouble. When I looked at this, I thought that was 126. Okay, that's what I had to do. And then I saw Cal 1 and said, no, this is right. Okay, but this is the wrong syllabus, by the way. Okay, this is the one I had for last spring. So some of the information on here was wrong, like the class meeting days and times, that kind of stuff. However, the bulk of it, the main part, what we're going to be doing in here, that's correct. So I'll go on and show this. This will be out there then on YouTube through Blackboard for later. I'll get this corrected sometime either this afternoon, tomorrow, sometime when I can get a chance, and then I'll put it on Blackboard. It'll be the updated correct. Okay. So this is Math 125, Calculus 1. They say software and Blackboard supported course, blah, blah, blah. 4 credit hour course, okay? And of course, these meeting days and times, the days are right, Monday and Wednesday. The times are 8:30, and we will get started at 8:30, knock on wood, you know. I'll do my best to have everything set up and ready to go at 8:30. But today, not, okay? And we go until what? Say again? 11. Oh, the other thing. This whole guy is falling apart. I can't hear. Okay, so that's why I have to keep saying this. I don't know when I'm going to get the hearing fixed. And I'll talk about the other thing falling apart later, too. It won't affect this class, but I am falling apart. Okay. 11:45 or 25. Okay. That is almost 3 hours. That's 2 hours and 55 minutes. And you might ask, why are we meeting so long? Well, it's because administrators can't do math, okay? And they changed our hours. See, we're undergoing a SACS accreditation. SACS, the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools, that's who accredits all the public and private universities and schools, seminaries, everything else in the Southeast. And we're in the process of doing that. And something when they were doing, they said, oh, the summer classes are too short. We've got to lengthen them. And they put them way too long. And I emailed and said, hey, these are too long. No. SACS said, when we were doing SACS, we found out the hours weren't long enough. So, but then I thought, well, maybe they mean for fall and spring too. So I didn't say anything more. I sort of let it drop. But then when fall schedule came out, they had us work on fall schedule. They had it the same as it's always been. So I did the math, and added up and said, you're way too long of hours. We used to be, for a 3-hour course, an hour and 50 minutes in the summer, an hour and 15 minutes in the fall and spring. Well, they moved it to 2 hours, 2 hours and 15 minutes for summer. Way too long. An hour and 58 or 59 minutes would have been bracketed exactly what the same number of hours in the fall would be. But they made it 25 minutes extra rather than 7 minutes more. So they just, or 8 minutes more. They kind of messed it up. So that's why we're going so long. So that's why I don't feel too bad about getting a late start today. So we're going 8:30 to 11:25, and then I believe my Cal 2 class starts at 11:30, so I don't have a lot of time there, okay? And that's on this campus, 255, that's correct. Wednesday, same thing as before, okay? This is my name, that hasn't changed. My office is 265. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with this crazy building that we have, we're right here at this corner here. By the way, when I get this far, it's not going to pick up the sound very well because I'm too far from the microphone. Here's where we are here. You go out the door here, hang a left, go down that half flight of stairs right there, and then go almost to the end of the hall. Don't run into the end of the hall, but almost at the end, next to the last door on the left is my office, 265. The very last door is a stairwell. Don't go down the stairwell. The one right before that is the mechanical room, just like this. So I'm in between the mechanical room and the stairwell. That's my office there, 265. The last operational thing on the left side of the hall. So that's where I am on located Monday through Thursday, okay, A265. All right, here's my phone number there. Now here's the problem, folks. We were out for part of last week, and there are so many phone messages out there on my thing, I had no time to clear any of them. I don't know when I will ever get caught up with my phone messages. So I would suggest don't leave a message, but sometimes the voicemail works and sometimes it doesn't, so I can't guarantee I'll ever hear it anyway, because sometimes it just doesn't work. So don't leave a message. Call during my office hours, and I'll talk about those in a minute. Call during my office hours, and if you don't get me, hang up and call back again a little bit later. Don't leave a message, but that is my number during office hours. Usually I'm in there, so we'll talk. Here's my email address. And by the way, for just about every employee of the college, it's first initial, last name at lawsonstate.edu. There are a few exceptions, and you'll probably run into some of those at some point, but most of the time, first letter, first initial, last name. Now, on Fridays, I'm usually on the Birmingham campus, and there I'm in room B122. Forget this number. It hasn't worked in several weeks now. I doubt if it's going to work now. They just haven't gotten around to repairing it. This was an office that belonged to a grant coordinator. I think she no longer works there, so they haven't fixed her phone. It's not my phone, so this won't work. I'll put a number in there, 929-6377 is our secretary, is my boss's secretary. I'm in the copy room behind her desk. So if you call her desk, if she's there, she'll get me. If she's not there, I usually try to go and answer her phone. So we're that close. Okay. So that will be the new number there, 929-6377. It's Miss Rose Saxon's number. Okay. Now, don't leave me a voicemail there either, because she may not hear it until I'm not in the office anymore. Now, let me go back to this thing about Fridays. Well, I'll be in the office this Friday, that's day after tomorrow. Next Friday, that's May the 31st. But then the months of June and July, the college, Lawson State, is closed on Fridays. Okay? We go to a 10-hour workday, 4 days a week. And so nobody will be in an office on Fridays. They're trying to do that to save cooling the buildings. These are old buildings. They're not very energy efficient. So rather than try to, for a few classes that might make it on Fridays, they just went on and closed the campus. So we have no Friday or Saturday classes in the summer. We do fall in spring, but not during the summer. Only June and July. Then when August rolls around, if there is another Friday in August that we're still here, I'll be back in the office then too. Okay, so this is only good this Friday, next Friday, and if we have the first Friday in August. Okay, now my office hours. Now these are wrong, but let me tell you approximately what they are. On Mondays, 8 to 8:30. That's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 8 to 8:30. Okay? I'm usually here by 8. I don't have classes starting until 8:30. Okay? Now, as I just told you, my second class, I don't think it shows up on here either. No. But I believe it starts at 11:30. And so I have 5 minutes between classes. That's all, folks. I'm not going to be in the office, but momentarily, if that. But then that goes until 2:25. And so I'm in the office from 2:25 until 6. So Mondays and Wednesdays, 8 to 8:30, 2:25 till 6. Okay. At least that's it for right now. I may wind up having to pick up a Cal 3 class late in the evening, and if I do, I'll either be in the office longer or that may change things. But for right now, that's how it is. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I have an 8:30 class. So again, 8 to 8:30 is fine. But that's just a 3-hour class. So I'm in the office from 8:30 to, I'm not used to these new hours now, 10:45. Okay? So from 10:45 until 6. No more classes on Tuesday or Thursday. So 8 to 8:30 and 10:45 until 6. 8 to 8:30. Okay. Fridays, those few Fridays, this one, next one, and one in August, 8 to 12 on the Birmingham campus. Okay. So those are the office hours. Now, course description. Okay, obviously my cursor is missing. Well, what did you do to my computer? Okay. I have never had it do this kind of stuff. I do not know what's wrong with it. I'm going to try this. I hope it won't mess up. Well, is this part of the problem? There's a spring that's in some sort of drive down here. That's bizarre. It was in my case, I guess. Let's see if this helps any. Okay. Okay. So what did you do? The Windows key and the tab? Okay. Okay. That's what we want, I think. Yeah. Okay. Let's see if we... Now finally this comes up. So end that. All right. Let's see if this will progress now. Ah! There it goes. All right. Here's the course description. This has not changed. This is the first of 3 courses. Now, by the way, I didn't write this. No one here at the college wrote this. This was something determined by a committee. It's called our Articulation Committee. That's made up of the 2-year college system and the state 4-year colleges and universities. No private, the state supported, Alabama supported. Okay? This is the first of 3 courses in the basic calculus sequence taken primarily by students in science, engineering, and mathematics. Topics include the limit of the function. Hang on to that concept. The derivative of algebraic, trigonometric, exponential, and logarithmic functions. Hang on to that concept. The definite integral, okay, and its basic applications to area problems. Applications of the derivative are covered in detail. Seems like we just said that, including approximations of error using differentials, maximum and minimum problems, curve sketching using calculus. Okay? That's really bizarre because, yeah, that's right. They have it crossed up here. Here they mentioned definite integral. I don't know why they didn't put the application of derivative up here with derivatives and the integral down here, but that's okay. All right, so that's what we're covering. Hang on to it. Well, might as well go over it. I don't see many books yet. Oh, I see one, okay? And I don't know if you're even going to get a book. So some of you are new here at Lawson, okay? We have a deal, I guess you call it, with, and I'll show it later. So I'll wait and talk about it then. But this publisher, Cengage, for something like $119, you can get any books you want. But it doesn't give you a hard copy. You can purchase a hard copy then for a small amount more, but you get the ebook and that kind of stuff. So check at the bookstore if you want to get on that deal. I know this book costs more than $119, but you get to hold the book here. You won't necessarily there. So check that out. Okay. But anyway, let me start here. The first chapter here is called Chapter P, Preparation for Calculus. That's a great review of graphs, linear models, functions of graphs, trigonometric functions. That's a great review, stuff you should have already had. If you want to go over that, go over it 4 sections pretty quick. If there's anything that you feel fuzzy about, you don't remember how it works, ask me. Next class, I always start with any questions. If you have questions, ask me on Chapter P. But Chapter 1, limits and their properties. And by the way now, just to remind you, the recording only gets what's projected and what I say. It doesn't get the picture of the book here, because that's not being projected. I'm holding it up here. It still shows that, okay? So if you're home listening to this, my arm waving doesn't show up, okay? Only what's projected, okay? But notice, Chapter 1, limits and their properties. Topics include the limits of a function, okay? Chapter 2, differentiation. Derivative of algebraic, trigonometric, exponential, logarithmic functions. A little bit of a problem here. Their Chapter 2 doesn't cover exponential and logarithmic functions. Boo hiss. That's covered in Chapter 5, logarithmic, exponential, and other transcendental functions. So at the end of the term, we'll be picking up exponential and logarithmic. But otherwise, we start on derivatives. Okay? Now, this is where we get out of order here. Applications of the derivative are covered in detail. Chapter 3, applications of differentiation. Okay? And the things mentioned here are all in that chapter. Chapter 4, integration. Okay? That's where the definite integral and its basic applications area problem. That's Chapter 4. And then Chapter 5 is the logarithmic, exponential, and other transcendental functions. That's what we do in this course. Chapters 1, 2, 3, 4, and parts of 5. As much of 5 as we can get covered. Starting in the fall, this won't apply to you any, but starting in the fall, the text I'm going to use is the same author, but it has the transcendental functions incorporated in the chapters rather than a separate chapter. So beginning in the fall, they'll have a different book. But if any of you are going to be taking Cal 2 in the fall, we'll still be in this book, so you don't have to buy a different book. It's only the people starting in Cal 1 will be starting with that. Same stuff is in there, it's just in a slightly different order. Same author, many of the same examples. Okay. So, any questions on the course description? That's what we're trying to cover. Okay, prerequisites, minimum prerequisite, they go through all this blah, blah, blah. Basically, if you've been a Lawson student here or wherever you've been, if you have a C or higher in pre-calculus trigonometry, this is right. This Math 115 is pre-calculus algebra and trig. That's the combined course. We teach the pre-calculus trig separate from pre-calculus algebra. No co-requisites, okay? And then I've already hit on this. There we go. It's slow, but it's coming. Whoa, too much. Okay. The textbook. I was just holding it up, but I'll go over it in more detail now. Required text is Calculus by Ron Larson and Bruce Edwards. This is the 11th edition. It's Cengage Learning is the name of the publisher. 2018 text. So it may be good for another year or two, but they change very frequently. I'll tell you the reason for that in a minute if you're interested. Graphics calculator certainly is useful. It's not required. Paper, yeah, we're going to be doing problems in class, so I'd say bring paper every time. Graph paper, sometimes, okay? If you ever need it on the test, I'll provide it for the test, but if you like your own, bring your own, okay? Pencils, the reason I say pencils, or whoever wrote this said pencils, is because I'll give you a confession here. When I do calculus, you'll see this soon enough, I tend to make errors, okay? So I just as soon use pencil so I can erase and it's readable rather than blotting out with ink. If you want to use ink, it's fine with me. That's up to you, okay, as long as I can read what it is. And then, I really hate this. They do this whole huge blurb. It's like a paid advertisement only not getting paid about Cengage Unlimited. And this is that. You'll be able to read it. It's 119, or it used to be, per semester, and blah, blah, blah. And it goes on forever. So I'll leave it here, and if you want to read this on, when it gets out there on YouTube, you can. Blah, blah, blah. It's like a paid advertisement here. But they make us put this in all the syllabi. Okay? Now, these are the courses, at least last spring, that were using it, so if you have others. See, that's the thing. If you're taking another course here from a Cengage that uses a Cengage book, for that same $119, you get those books too. As many courses you're taking this term with Cengage, and these are the courses are at least we're using that. So I don't know if any of you are taking this. If any of are any of you in physics this term? Also, okay. Your physics books will be covered by that. Same $119 too. So you don't have to buy one of each. Buy that, pay that, and you get both books. Okay? All right. Now, that also probably means I've got to get a code for you. And I don't have the code yet because I was so busy doing all the other. By the way, I'm the math department chair, and that's why I was so tied up with all the other mess going on. So anyway, all these would work for Cengage. Okay? Here's more talk about it. If you want to do just one semester, that's $119. If you want to do a full year, now I don't know if that counts summer or not. They're never clear on this. That's that. If you're going to go for 2 years, there's the price. Okay. I'll let you determine that. Supposedly, all you need is the pen from the receipt, and then I think I may have to give you a code. And sometimes Cengage is really slow about sending out the code, so I'll try to get that done as soon as I can too. Okay? More blah, blah, blah. Okay, finally. Blackboard. They put this in and they tell us we can't change it. To me, some of these statements are pretty bizarre. All courses must use Blackboard to gain access to vital course information such as the syllabus, handouts, PowerPoint shows, activities, assignments, announcements, and so forth. Okay? Let me do a pause here. I will put the syllabus out there. It's not there yet. I've got to get the corrections made. As soon as I do, I'll put it out there. Handouts, most of the time, if I have a handout, I will be handing them out to you. So I don't put handouts on Blackboard necessarily. Okay? PowerPoint shows. Now, they're not there yet, but these same ones that you saw me loading before, I'll load every one that we could possibly cover this term. Chapters 1 through 5. We probably won't do all of 5. I'll put them all out there. They're not there yet, but I'll put them out there as soon as I can get around to doing it. Okay? Now, they'll also be there in another way, through YouTube videos, because I teach from the PowerPoint. So you'll see the PowerPoint in static form, just in Blackboard. And by the way, let me explain Blackboard. Some of you may be familiar with it, some of you may not. When you go to this course page in Blackboard, there's a series of tabs on the left-hand column, and it goes on forever. And they group them in groups of about 9 or 10, something like that. And in that first group, there's something called course information or something like that. That's where I'll put the syllabus. That's one of the tabs in that first group. I think the tab right below that, and they say, all I see is the instructor side. I don't see the student side, so I can't say for sure how it looks on your side. But the one right below that says instructor information. That's where I'll put my locator card showing when I'm on campus, when I'm not on campus, which campus I'm on, all that kind of stuff. When I'm in class, out of class, trying to eat lunch or whatever. By the way, I eat lunch in my office, so come by anytime there. Most of the time I'll be bringing my lunch and eat lunch in the office. Okay? So, that's there. Okay? Then in that second grouping, that's where it will have one called something like course handouts or things like that. I can't remember exactly how they phrased. They change the Blackboard about every year, and I can't remember exactly what this new one is called. But there's where you'll see PowerPoints. That's where I'll put your research paper. Hey, we got a research paper coming out. Those instructions and websites that either I found or other students have given me saying they found them useful for the course. I'll put all that stuff out there, and that is in the second grouping, and it's something, it actually says PPT, meaning PowerPoints. So look for that one, and all this other stuff will be there. Okay? And that's where the link to the YouTube videos will be. Okay? So they'll all be there on Blackboard. So the syllabus will be there down here up here under syllabus, and down here in the YouTube videos. Okay? So it'll be there in two places. The syllabus, will be here, and what I'm talking today will be down there. The handouts, most of the time I'll hand those out to you. PowerPoint shows will be up here. They'll all be down here. Static form here by section, and then the YouTube video link. You'll see me talk about it right on the screen, all that kind of stuff. Okay? Activities, sometimes the school posts activities out there. I don't know of many activities with it. Assignments, okay, that's sort of tricky. Down here I'll put the research assignment, research paper assignment. That will be here for sure. Now, I don't type out every day what your homework is. I tell you what it is. Either when we finish a section, I'll tell you what problems to do, or at the end of the class. If we're in the middle of a section, I'll tell you how many problems to do from that. Okay? So it'll be there, but it'll be there through the YouTube videos. So if you don't come one day, go to the YouTube videos, see what we did, and also find out what the homework is. I'm not typing them out for you. They're there on YouTube videos. So they are there, but they're maybe a little harder to find. Announcements, again, most of the time, I'll make announcements at the beginning of class. If they're important, I'll include them on the YouTube video. Okay? Most of the rest of the time, that will be from the college. Now, I don't like this sentence. Failure to use Blackboard will severely damage your ability to pass the course. What a negative sentence. I would have written it, but they don't let me change it. The proper use of Blackboard could greatly enhance your ability to do well in the course. It's much more positive, I think, closer to reality. It says here, students should always check the Blackboard announcement page and task pages prior to coming to class. Why would they put that in there? Maybe there's some reason, but the only one I can think of is comma in case the instructor has canceled class that day. And I'll tell you now, I'm not going to cancel class if I can possibly help it. Now, if there's an accident on the expressway on the way in, and I can't possibly, there's no way I can get on Blackboard and send you a message, I'm not going to have it there. That's the only thing I can think of. If I get deathly ill in the morning and can't possibly make it in, I'm probably not going to say, dear, could you bring my computer so I can put something on Blackboard? No, if I'm that sick, if I'm well enough to do that, I'm going to be driving into work, okay? So I'm not, knock on wood, cancel class if I can possibly help it. If I can't help it, you're going to know about it ahead of time, okay? So I don't like this one. Okay, but enough of that. All right, let's do professional competencies. Where in the world is my cursor here? Oh, there. Is it coming? There it comes. Okay. I'm going to try to get the next two things on the same screen, if I can. It's going to fly up. Yep, I knew it was going to do it. No, it did it perfectly. All right, here's the course student learning outcomes. Go back to the course description. Students will find limits graphically, numerically, and analytically. Chapter 1. Okay? Students will take the derivative of functions using the product and quotient rules, power derivatives, chain rule, and implicit differentiation. Chapter 2. Okay? And here we have it. Chapter 1, Chapter 2. Okay? We'll talk about the second part here in a minute. Okay? Students will apply the derivative to extrema, curve sketching, optimization, Newton's method. Chapter 3, application of differentiation. Students will approximate and compute area using definite integral, and we'll use the fundamental theorem of calculus. Chapter 4, okay, integration. Okay, now, yeah, can't quite get it all on here. Chapter 5, okay. Students will use the computer and graphing calculator. Somebody else wrote this. I didn't know this was in here. Use the computer and graphing calculator to illustrate knowledge of concepts such as limit, continuity, and extreme values of functions. I'm going to rewrite that one and say we're going to talk about logarithms of exponential functions. That's chapter 5. Okay? Can't see it down here, but that's what it is. I don't know how I missed that. And students will research and write on the topic of calculus. That's your research paper. We'll talk about that in a minute. So these student learning outcomes are matched down here by the competencies. And this is how we achieve it. Now, let's talk about this. The test. I want to just do a quick poll. Would you rather have in-class test or a take-home test? Any preference? Take home? My word, what a surprise. I thought for sure you were going to say in-class test. Man, okay, we'll do take-home test then. All right. If we would have done in-class test, then I would have put a quiz in here as well. But since it's going to be a take-home test, see, I thought you would say that. Okay, it will be take-home test, okay? And I actually like that for a couple of reasons. Number one, usually what I'm looking for on a test is going to take you more than an hour to do. Now, I know we have, 2 hours and 55 minutes now, but I don't want to use a whole period in a test. So the take-home test, you can do it at your own pace and, use all the resources that you need to get the answers. Because and I may be way off on this, but I've worked outside of academia before, and usually if you were working for me and there was some problem we needed to solve, I would say, and you can't use a book, you can't use any resources, you have to go strictly from memory, but I want this problem solved. I don't trust your memory that well. I don't trust my memory that well. When I worked in industry, if I had something to look, I looked up and made sure I had that equation perfectly right. Because I didn't want to have the sign in the wrong place and then everything I do was wrong, So I want you to have the resources at hand to solve the problems, okay? So I like to do the take-home test, okay? And, I can ask more comments. Otherwise, it's just do this, do this, do this, I don't know if you really understand the whole process then. Okay, so this allows me to ask more critical thinking type questions on a time test, that's really hard to do. Okay. So you'll have a test. You'll have 1 week to complete it. I'm usually pretty lenient, and if you need more time, I'll let you have them. But try to get them in within a week. I don't want you, and we only have 10 weeks this summer, and I'm using most of it right now, but I don't want you hanging on to the test. I've already given you the second test and the third test. I still don't have the first one back. What if you miss something on the first test? Then you're making that same error on the second and third test because you never turned in the first one, and I have no way of saying, hey, you got this concept wrong. So get it in as soon after that week as possible. Now, why do I give you a week? There's 2 reasons. That gives you 1 day that you can ask questions about it. So don't say, oh, this is due next Monday, I'll work on it Sunday night. Okay? No, don't do that. Start looking at it, figure out, make sure you understand everything, because the next class period, you get to ask me questions. I don't understand what you're meaning in this problem, that kind of stuff. Now, here's a question I will answer, but how do you work number 7? No, I won't answer that one, okay? What I will answer, though, is find a problem similar to it in the text. Find that and say, how do you work this? I'll be glad to work that, okay? So I won't work number 7 or any of them, but I will do the other. Or here's a more, do you know how to do number 7? Yes, I do. That's going to be my answer, okay? And that's going to be all you get, okay? So anyway, there's one reason. The second reason I give you a week, that means you always have a weekend to work on it. In case you're working during the week and the weekend's only 10 you got, you always have the weekend. Okay, so we will have take-home tests then at the end of each chapter. Please get them back to me as soon as you can. Try to shoot for the 1 week. If you need more time, then usually I'll give it, but please don't hang on to them forever, okay? So let's see, here's the next one, chapter 5, logarithmic and exponential functions. Well, I don't know if we have a test on that one or not. That may be incorporated, but we'll see, okay? Depends on how we go. Writing competency will be the research paper. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And the overall competency will be your last exam. That's what I mean by final. This isn't necessarily comprehensive. If we have time, yeah, I'll do your comprehensive exam. It'll be pretty short, pretty sweet, but most of the time, that's just your last test. But guess what? Your last test is going to incorporate everything that you had coming up there. That's how math works. You build on it. So that's your overall competency. Now, here's a little key to that. Your last test, you can't say, hey, I've had A's on all my tests. Can I not do the last test? Well, that one's required, okay, because that measures everything. That's your overall competency. No, your last test you have to turn in. Okay, so we'll talk about that when we get closer. You usually have a week. I'll try to give you plenty of time, and it'll be short enough you can get it done. Okay. Now, how evaluation? Okay. Now, someone else wrote this. This first sentence to me is totally redundant, but whatever. I do require a research paper. I've already said that. Notice it's required for the course, not optional. It's not a droppable thing. It's required. It will count as a test grade that cannot be dropped. Okay, the research paper. Now, the chapter test will be given after each chapter. The lowest chapter test score may be dropped. If it helps your average, then yes, I'll drop to the lowest test score. Now, why did I put may and not will? What if you either don't turn in that research paper or really do a terrible job on it, but your test scores are pretty good? Well, if you are pulling up that research paper, then I'll count every test that helps you. Okay? So, but if it helps you to drop the lowest one, I'll do that. Final exam may not be dropped, will count as one test score. Okay? And again, that could be the last chapter test or it could be a comprehensive, whichever it is. It can't be dropped. Each assessment will be graded on 100 points, and then the breakdown, hopefully what you're used to, 90s or A's, 80s or B's, 70s or C's, those are passing scores. Now, Lawson does something that may be different from your regular schools. I don't know. A D is a passing grade. It's not a failure like an F, but generally it won't transfer. Okay? And if you're a transient student, I doubt if they'll accept a D from here. Okay? So don't go down here. Don't even think about going down here. Stay up here, if at all possible, okay? Now, it used to be Lawson counted a D as if it was failing. They did not give you credit for a D. You had to retake the course. They have changed that policy ever so slightly, and it's so confusing now it's hard for me to describe. But if you make a D in a course not directly associated with your major, they do let you count that D. But guess what? I'm guessing all of you are either math majors, physics majors, or pre-engineers. Am I missing anybody? Second? Second? Pharmacy, okay. I don't know about pharmacy. That's up to your school. But in math, physics, and pre-engineering, this course is required. Now, are you a Lawson student or are you a transient? Transient. You have to figure that out from your own school. For Lawson, pre-pharmacy, I think that's under Area 5, anything in Area 5, except for the computer science and PE, then that's, you can't make a D of that either. So it's hard to see the shell game where you are. Basically, if it's a psychology thing and you're pre-engineer, you can make a D in psychology. But I don't think it works for English 101 or probably for, it's so confusing. Let's not waste any more time. Now, as I said, administrators don't understand math very well. This is sort of silly here, but I had to change it. Here's what it used to say. The instructor always rounds grades upward. That's what the original thing said. And this part was it. For example, a 79.5% will be rounded up to an 80% of D. Okay? And this is what was then. But a 79.4% would remain a C. Well, that to me is contradicting what this originally said. The instructor always rounds upward. This is rounding downward. Okay? So I just changed the first sentence and said the instructor rounds grade normally. Okay? If you get a 0.5, it goes up. A 0.4 goes down. Okay? So I don't know why. Whoever wrote it didn't understand math. Didn't understand rounding anyway. Okay, attendance. I'm not going to go into great detail here. I'll say that everything and then do too much. Try to be here every class. Yeah, I record the classes, but you don't know if that day if the recording's working. Okay? So try to be here every day. And guess what? Try to ask the recording a question. It's not going to answer. Here in class, I encourage you, I want you to ask questions all along. In fact, I teach mostly by asking questions. So you need to be here to interact. Okay? But if you can't be here, it is out there. Okay? So try to be here every day. Now, while this is still on the screen here, I don't want to go into too much detail here. If you're from another school, then follow that. But here at Lawson, if it looks like your only chance is going to be a D or an F, please withdraw. Okay? The only disadvantage of withdrawal is it may hurt you financially. Okay? Financial aid and stuff. But guess what? A D or an F is going to hurt you the same way. Exactly the same way as far as not completing the course. You're going to have to recoup the course. But D or F is going to lower your grade point average, which hurts you that way. A W does not affect your grade point average at all. So if it looks like you get so far behind or you're not understanding anything and there's no way you're going to make anything above a C or above, please withdraw. There's no disadvantage to withdrawal, except financial aid, but the D or F does the same thing, hurting you with financial aid. Okay? Makeup work, yeah, that's sort of crazy. You got research paper, you got take-home test. Why does makeup work? Okay? If you're not here the day I pass out the test, get it the next day. You know, have a friend take it to you, whatever. Okay? So that one sort of makes it. Lateness policy, as you saw today, I was a little late because I got interrupted so many times from other sources. And the other thing this morning, my printer's not working. The magenta cartridge, it will not print because that's going out. Well, guess what? I'm not printing in color. I'm printing black and white, but it still will not print. And I've ordered a new one. The administration is so slow with doing the requisition. I don't know when I'm going to get it. So I had to go to the records office and stand in line to use their printer there. And then it didn't work until I got it to work. So it's not been a good day. Okay, academic integrity. I think you know this stuff, so I'm not going to go in great detail. Plagiarism, don't do it. Okay? Don't do it. Okay? Cheating, don't do it. Okay? Don't do it. Hey, most of you, I can't speak too much for pharmacy except they require you to take the course. But the deal is, if you're going to need this course in the future, what good is it going to do you to cheat now? You're not going to get the knowledge. So don't do it. Okay? Now, professional decorum. They put all this mess in here. I don't know why. Sleeping. Please, if you sleep, don't snore. Okay? Because you're disrupting other students. Okay? If you choose to sleep, that's completely up to you. But if you snore, you're bothering other people. So don't snore. Okay? I'm making fun of this. Okay? Eating or drinking, hey, if you feel like you got to have some caffeine, I want you awake rather than asleep, so I don't mind caffeine. If you spill it, you clean it. Okay, that's the key here. Okay, so all this stuff to me is, I don't see it as college type stuff, but that may be just me. Now, when I have my cataract removed, I'm going to have to be in sunglasses. Now, fortunately, that's going to be on a Thursday, and I'll have the whole weekend. Hopefully, I won't need them the next Monday. But if I need them because my eyes are sensitive, I'm going to wear sunglasses. If y'all have some sort of reason like that, it's fine. I don't care. So, I don't know. If you do anything that's disruptive to other students, don't do it, okay? You're bothering them. The rest of it, preference. Yeah, if you're in here smacking like that commercial I've seen on television, the kid chewing on the thing and the woman having, yeah, if you're making noise and being disruptive of others, don't do it, okay? To me, that's the important thing. All right, course concerns. If you don't feel like you're getting a fair shake here, please let somebody know. Talk with me first, okay? See if we can resolve it, okay? If you don't feel like that's satisfied, then look up the department chair. Whoops, that's me. Okay? We'll see if we can resolve it. Okay? If that doesn't work, we'll keep going up the line. The associate dean, the dean, the vice president, the president. We'll take you as far as you need to go. Okay? But let's get it cleared early. Don't wait until you're hopelessly far behind. Okay? So there are procedures. You can go to the website and see if you can find them there. I haven't been able to, but yeah, I don't have much time for it. Discrimination and harassment, let me just say this. We do not tolerate it, okay? We don't condone it. If you see or sense that it's happening, let us know. Please let us know. We want to deal with it and deal with it immediately, fairly, but quickly, okay? We don't want it happening here. And so far, I can't remember, this is my 22nd year or something like that here, teaching almost in this classroom, not always, but most of the time. And basically, I have seen practically none. It's not saying it hasn't happened. I hope it hasn't, but they don't do it in front of me, okay? So if you sense with anybody else or anyone that it might be happening, let us know so we can nip it in the proverbial bud. The closest I've seen, and this wasn't really discrimination or harassment, it was just stupidity in my mind. There was a kid, this is on my first, second, or third year teaching here. I was teaching automotive math. That's when we were Bessemer State Technical College, and the automotive programs had their own math course. And I had this one kid, several kids that were very young, very immature, and really didn't care at all about math. Well, this kid, I found out later, didn't really care about automotive. His dad said you had to go to college, so he said, okay, I'll work on cars, But he really wasn't serious about anything. I didn't know that until later. But one day, he just didn't show up. And, most of the automotive students show up every day. So I thought he must be sick or something. Well, the next day, he didn't show up. I said, hey, where's such and such? He was here every day up until last time. What's that? Oh, you didn't hear? No, what? Well, one day at lunch, he just decided to walk across people's cars in the parking lot. And somebody saw him, jerked him off, not figuratively, not literally, Took him to the dean's office. They had a nice little chat. He was off campus and never seen again. Okay? We just don't tolerate that kind of stuff. That's pretty much how it will be. You're going to be given a fair hearing. You know, everything's going to be done correctly and legally and everything, but we do not want discrimination, harassment. Now, I count in here bullying. If you see anything like that, let us know. We don't want it happening here. The next topic is Americans with Disabilities. This is a federal law. We do it, and guess what? I've already told you. I don't see well. I don't hear well. I'm pretty sensitive to disabilities there. So if you have one, let somebody know. Don't tell me. We have professionals downstairs, Dr. Renee Herndon on this campus, Ms. Janine McCoy-Jones on the Birmingham campus. Bring in the documentation, let them know. They'll let me know what we need to do. I want to do whatever it takes to make sure you learn the material. Okay? So you can go and see more there. Now this, the course calendar, obviously is not correct because this is from last spring, but I'll get the course calendar done similar to this, and I'll tell you right now, it comes straight off the academic calendar on the website. I just take that pertinent information and put it in a folder like this, in a table like this. Okay? So that's pretty straightforward. And then the final thing will be your acknowledgement form. Once I have it out there, I'll let you know, hey, the syllabus is there on Blackboard. Go to it, check. Then if you have any questions, ask. If not, then sign this and give me your. You can either print it off and sign it or do it and email it to me. I don't care. Okay, any questions about the syllabus? Anything about how we're going to run the course? All right, so let's end that one. And let's go to this. This is, well, let's actually go to this one next. Here's a research paper, general instructions. Okay, I know this is probably hard to read from where you are if you're in the back of the room. It's hard for me to read from right here. That's because of my cataract. But you choose your topic. I don't care what you write on. Pick a topic. And in fact, you could do it today. Try to have it done by next week. Write down on a piece of paper your name and your paper topic. And then turn it into. Okay? That way, if you get it into me first, that's your topic. Someone else will have to modify it. They can't do the same thing. Okay? So get it to me soon. Now, that seems like a huge waste of paper, so this has nothing to do with the research paper. If on that same piece of paper you want to write your very best phone number, you can do that. You don't have to do that. This is just at your discretion. But periodically, and I found this out because, like I said, I was calling the students that we were having to cancel classes and stuff like this, and it seemed like half, no, it wasn't half, but a good number of those numbers that were in the system were either had been changed, were incorrect to begin with, there was no voicemail, there was, and it probably was Mama's landline or something like that, you know. And if that's your very best number, give it to me. So in case I need to get in touch with you, it's more than me. In case I get accosted in the hall or someone comes banging on the door and say, so it's in your Cal 1 class, we need to get in touch with them right away, something's happening, you know. And they said the number in the system's not working. So if you want to give me your very best phone number, then I'll say, well, here's what number they gave me. Now, my guess that would be a cell phone. Most of them, okay? Now, if there's a chance that the battery could have died, someone ran over it with a truck, you left it in the car or at home or something like that, which most of you don't do, that's attached to your body some way, isn't it? Yeah. So anyway, if there is a chance that it may not be working, if you want to give me a good backup number, like Mama's landline or something like that, you can do that. You don't have to, but if you choose to. Or a few others may work when you're not in class at school. And you may not be able to have your cell there. And if they let you take incoming calls, especially if it's an emergency type thing, and you want to leave that number with me, you can do that. I don't care. You can give me no numbers, one number, two numbers. I can't think of any reason to give me more than 3 numbers. But you choose. If you want to write that on the piece of paper, I'll have the paper in case anyone's looking. At the end of the term, when I get around to it, I have those ready. Okay, so they're not going to be hanging around forever. Okay. So, topic can be a person. It can be a theory. We talked about fundamental theorem of calculus. There's one right there. A phenomenon that has something to do with calculus. And most things physically have to do with calculus. And application. I love these kind of problems. This is not the right course, but Todd was in my trig class last term. I don't know if you were here to hear me talk about it. I had a trig class one time, and a guy sat right where Todd is sitting now. He lived in McAdory, but he was going to school at Jeff State, and he just decided, well, let me just do my math here at Lawson. It's just on the way by. So he did. And he was a forestry major, pre-forestry major at Auburn, planning to go to Auburn. And for his trig topic, paper topic, he chose the use of trigonometry in forestry. I love that paper. It wasn't a great paper. I mean, he was an okay writer, not that it was, but it was something in his field of study that he could apply what we were studying. And you say, when do a forester ever use trigonometry? Well, when a forester's going out estimating, how much he's going to pay for this stand of timber, he's got to estimate the height of the trees, average height of the tree. Now, you think he's going to take a tape measure and do it at the bottom and find the tree and measure? I hope not. Okay, he's going to have a sextant. He's going to measure how far he is from the base of the tree on a level portion. He's going to set up his sextant, measure to the topmost part that's economically usable, and get the angle and use trigonometry to estimate the height of that tree. Yes. Okay. So application problems, fantastic. Whatever field you're going into, I don't know what you're going to do with pharmacy, how you're going to use calculus there, but you can pick one of these other things there. Unless there is something. There may be something I don't know about. Okay. Any other such topic about which you have an interest and can be associated with calculus. Okay. Now here's a new one I've put in fairly recently. It can be an internet application. Something like a YouTube video or something like that that explains something. Say, you read the book, please read the book, and then you hear me talk about it and you say, what is he meaning? And then you find some application out there, a YouTube video, and you say, oh, that's what it means. That makes perfect sense now. If you find something like that and you want to write on that that module, whatever you want to call it, you can do that. How what I was saying, the book was saying, wasn't really getting through to you, paragraph or so on that. Then other sources you will look for, and you couldn't find anything that worked there. Then you found this one, what made it make it come to life for you. Okay? That can be a paper. Okay, right there. Okay? So it can even be something like that. Something you find useful for the class. So what I said before, write your name and the topic on a piece of paper, and you can include any phone number you want to. Try to get that to me today or next week. And by the way, next week, is Wednesday only, right? Monday is Memorial Day. That's sort of the good news, bad news situation. The good news is Monday's Memorial Day. The bad news is we won't have class. Sorry. Get over it. Okay. But so we meet this week on Wednesday and next week on Wednesday. So get it to me one of those 2 days. Okay. So get it back to you. Now, you'll need at least one, but 2 or more are better, outside sources for your paper. This book is not an outside source. Now, this book is a great source of ideas for the paper. And you may even find names of people. You may find theories. You may find lots of stuff in here, but this can't be your source for the paper. It can be the source of your idea, but you have to get outside source for your paper. The purpose is to get you out of the book into the library or the real world or somewhere else out there. Okay? So, you'll need to get at least 1, 2 or more better. The source can be any book, journal, article, newspaper, magazine, whatever you can find in any library anywhere. Now, here's the problem. Any legitimate, I should really highlight that in all sorts of things, source found on the internet. Okay? I say this to most of my classes. During my lifetime, it's been a while, okay? I'm 68 years old. I don't think there's anything that's been developed in my lifetime that has changed everything so much as the internet. I don't think the internet existed in 1951, and what has come out of that is just amazing. Okay, but two big problems with it. Maybe more than two, but two that I can think of right now. First, at least, and I think way more than half the stuff out there is total garbage. Okay? Second problem is sometimes you don't know which half. Okay? So be very careful with stuff you find on the internet. Make sure it's a legitimate source. If you have any question, run it by me. I'll say, I've never seen or heard anything like this before. See if you can find something else that supports this. Okay? If you can't, that's probably not legitimate. Or, no, that's perfectly fine. Yes, that's good. Go with it. Okay, the textbook is not an outside source for your paper. It can be a source for your ideas. Now, I don't want necessarily a 5-paragraph essay. If that's all you know how to write and you want to do it, that's fine. I just want 1 to 2 pages of text. Okay? Now, let's talk about what one word process page of text is. If you have a header, I don't care if you have a header or not, but if you have a header and stuff up here, you skip a few lines, then you have your title, your triple space, and you start typing right here, 1 page of text is going to go from here to the bottom of this page, but then on the second piece of paper, start up here until you get down to that point right there. That's 1 page of text. So not, that's a page of text. Okay, now, I do want it double spaced. This is single space. That's because it doesn't need to have it here, but I want it double spaced. So that gives you fewer words even then. Okay? Standard 12 pitch, 12 point font. I don't want it so small I can't read. I don't want it so big that 3 words fill a page. That's not going to work. Okay? So your standard font. And the font you use is up to you as long as I can read it. I don't read hieroglyphics or old English, so don't do anything silly like that. Just keep it any standard font. Times New Roman is just like every word process is fallback. I did Arial here. I don't care what you use. There's tons of really good readable fonts. Try to keep the paper less than 2 pages. Okay? That's not a requirement. I'm just a suggestion. I don't mean for you to have to do a formal research paper that's going to take you all term doing. I want you to just get something out there that you're interested in. Show me you've researched it. Communicate to me how interesting it is to you. Okay, that kind of stuff. So try to keep. Now, if you get so fired up about the topic and you go over 2 pages, I do not count off for it being too long. Too short, you lose points. Too long, you do not. At least not directly. I've only had this happen a time or two. I'll start over with this. Like I said, I'm in my 20-something year of teaching here. I didn't do this the first few years, but then when I started going to SACS things and they were putting so much emphasis in writing across the curriculum, that's when I started requiring papers. Okay? Now, so it's been many years, well more than 15 years, okay, that I've been doing this. I've taught every term, fall, spring, and summer. It used to be on quarter system. Fall, winter, spring, and summer. Now we're on semesters, fall, spring, and summer. And this term I have 3 or 4 classes. Many terms I've had as many as 8 or 9 classes, okay? So I've had a lot of terms, a lot of years, a lot of classes. Everyone pretty much does papers. And I've only had this happen a few times. That somebody decides, well, I'm not going to produce quality, so I'm going to produce quantity. So they give me a paper that just goes on and on and on, but it's a really sloppy, messy paper. No quality on quality. Let me explain to you how I grade your papers. When you turn it in, it's a 100-point paper. And then I start reading it, okay? I can hear you now say, oh, don't read it. Please don't read it. No, I'm going to read it. You did the effort to do it. And as I start finding things wrong, you start losing points. So guess what? That person who sacrifices quality but decides to go with quantity, losing points, losing points, losing points, losing points. Hey, they're hurting themselves. Give me good quality work. It can be 1 page. It can be 3 or 4 pages. I don't care. Good quality paper. You're going to get a good score. But don't try to replace quality with quantity. It's going to lose your points. Okay? All right. I don't care what format you use. Most English classes teach MLA, Modern Language Association. That's fine. I'm happy with it. A lot of scientific organizations like using APA, which is American Psychological Association. They came out with an early format, and people say, hey, I can't beat this. Well, we'll use this one. You know, I don't care. I've been a member of several professional organizations. Seems like every one of them has a different format. I know my wife is a researcher at UAB, and she has on the computer how to do this. If she's writing a paper for JAMA, Journal of American Medical Association, she just tells the thing that, and it sets up the format for that one. If you got it for New England Journal of Medicine, she does it for that one, or whoever, you know. So I don't care what format, but be consistent. Okay, here's what I mean. If you start blocking paragraphs, block all your paragraphs. Don't block a few, then indent a few, or have this indentation here, the next one down here. Be consistent. Yay. You know, do quality work. Okay? Here's another thing. If you have a source up here that you refer to, and you open a parentheses and put author's last name, comma, page number, and close it. Okay? Fine. If that's what your format calls for. But down here, you do the same type of a source, and you put open parentheses, the title of the article, comma, year of publication. Hey, now I know that different forms of things have different formats, but for the same thing, I think I know what happened here. This one used a certain format, and you just use that format and refer to it. And then this one used a different format and used its format. No. You pick your format and stay with it. Okay, just be consistent. Okay. All right. Spelling, grammar, sentence structure, all those kinds of things will lose you points, so be careful. But guess what? Just about every word processing package out there has spell check and grammar check. Use them, okay? Okay, use good proofreading. You know, use the things, okay? Now, I'll say this, no, I'll wait and say it, but it has to do with this. But content also matters. Now, you're going to be writing on something dealing with math, right? And most of the time, I'm going to have at least a cursory knowledge of that. So if you are writing on Pythagorean theorem, which I've seen many papers on, I'm not suggesting you do, but and you state it wrong, I'm going to pick that up, you know, or law of signs, or yeah, that kind of stuff. I'll usually, so be careful with your content. And even little dumb things like this. I've actually seen this happen, not frequently, but the first paragraph they introduce writing on a person. And they talk about the person and give in parentheses the date of his birth, the date of his death, okay? That's how they're sourced it. I don't care, you know, they did it. But then over here on page 2, they had him dying in a different year from that. You know, that's sloppy. You know, you got something wrong. Or I can't remember when Newton lived. Let's say, please get it close to the right ballpark. 1542. Someone typed 1942. No, Newton didn't do that in 1942. He was long dead by then. Okay, so just be careful that you. Content also matters. Okay, now, when is it due? The last day of class before finals begin. That's the absolute deadline, okay? It's a term paper. You can use all term to do it if you want to. However, I highly recommend you not do that, okay? Because guess what? That last week of class is right before you have finals in every subject you're taking. Okay? And you may have other papers do that, and projects do that, and other things like this. Don't put it off. Get started now. That's why I want you to turn in a paper topic this week or next. So you can start thinking about it already. Start finding your sources. Start doing it. The sooner you get it in, it's out of the way. Okay? You'll never have as much time. I have it in here somewhere. Yeah, right here. You'll typically have more time early in the term than later when other projects, blah, blah, blah. You'll never have more time than you do right now. Okay? Please get it done. Get it done early. Okay? If you turn it in after that last day of class, during finals, we only have one day of finals. Turn it in that day, you're losing points. If you don't turn it in then and you turn it in until a week or two later, you're losing points. Okay? That's the stick. Okay? Here's the carrot. Now, this is going to change on here. It's the only thing I've got to change. If you turn it in during the month of May, and there's not much month of May left, okay, you get 2 bonus points. Turn it in the month of June, you get 1 bonus point. Turn it in the month of July, which I think includes the last day of class, you just get your score. You turn it in after the last day of class, then the points start being negative. So don't go there. Okay, so I'll get those corrected when I figure out what the time frame is. Now, here's something that I require that I don't think anyone else does. When you submit your paper, please attach a single page from one of your sources. So let's say you had 2 or 3 sources. Pick a source, any source, I don't care which. And then if it's something off the internet, print a single page from that source. If it's something from the library, take it over to the copier, copy a single page from that source. Turn it in with your paper. That's something I require nobody. I don't know of anyone else. I just like to see the source so I can follow up. If I want to use that source or something else, I have that I can go by. Okay? So now, if you did one of those report on a computer application, that may not have a page, then just give me the link that you used. I want that link anyway, so if you found it useful, then I can put it in the Blackboard page that other students can use too. Next time I teach the course. Okay. Any questions on the research papers? Get it. Here's what I was going to say earlier. Notice how long I've done this, every term, every class, and class sizes have been, on average, this size or bigger. I've had some smaller classes, some really huge classes. Everyone has had papers. So I've seen a lot of papers over the years, a whole lot of papers. Here's a general statement. This is not always true. The papers I get early in the term are usually some of my best papers. And then over the course of the term, they kind of trend downward. And usually those turn in very late in the term are usually some of my worst papers. They didn't take time to do spell check and grammar check and just rushed it through, didn't proofread it well. I've had some real dogs at the beginning of the class. I've had some real good papers turned in at the end. So it's not always true, but the general trend is that way. Get up here, okay? Do well. Give me a good paper. Any questions? All right. If not, I'm going to leave this up because I'll use this next class too. And let me get this. Now it's working fine. I don't know. It's crazy. This is summer 2018. So this doesn't apply anymore. Last summer we started at 8. We don't anymore, but you'll get the general idea. Start at 8:30. Have Math 125. Their classes are longer this summer, starting at 11:30. No. 12:30. I can't remember. Whenever it is, that's when my Math 126 is. It's just later in the day. Usually my lunch is after that second class because I only have like 15 minutes in between that. In fact, this time I think I only have 5 minutes. Okay, and then I'll scroll on down to the. Oh, by the way, I'll get this corrected for this summer. But there's my phone number. This is my office number here, not the one on the Birmingham campus, because that doesn't work. And I'm not there with very good. There's my email address. So all that's going to be there. Okay, and then let me see how much of this I can get on the screen. Okay. Maybe one more. Yeah. Okay. So Monday and Wednesday are that way, 125 and then 126. Okay. Now, I don't know. I may pick up 227 late on Monday and Wednesday. I hope not, but if I can't get anyone to teach it, I may wind up having to teach that. But I do have 8 to 8:30 here and something like 2:30 to whatever down here. I don't know what time that class starts. 6 o'clock anyway. Okay, Tuesday and Thursday I have a Math 238. That class starts at 8:30 and it runs till 10:45. Yeah, 10:45. And then from 10:45 until 6 o'clock, I'm free. These other classes did not make. My 237 didn't make, my 111 didn't make, and my Physics 112 didn't make. Just got a regular load this summer, not another load. So that's the best time for office hours. And then on Friday, this is only the month of May and the month of August. 1 June is not a day. 31 May is the last Friday, so the 2 Fridays in May and any Friday in August, I'm on the Birmingham West campus. So I'll get this corrected. It's not much to correct, a little bit. Get that out there. Okay, any questions on my schedule? All right. Now, there's one more administrative thing we've got to do. I don't have a PowerPoint, or, well, these aren't PowerPoints, so I don't have anything to project on it, but that's the issue of safety. Okay? Now, we're not going to be doing anything in this course that's hazardous, but hazardous things could occur. There's 3 areas of safety we all have to address, so we all have to think about. Okay? Can anyone think of what one of those might be? Second? Fire, exactly. What if something happened in the building that there was a fire? Let's start with worst case scenario. Worst case scenario, my computer blows up. And when it does, it sets the papers on fire. What do we do? What are the steps that we need to think about? What's that again? She said leave. Okay, yeah, we're going to leave the building and let it burn down, and everybody else in here is suffocating from smoke but we got out, didn't we? Oh, we might need something else before we done. What might that be? Oh, pull a fire alarm. Great idea. Where's the closest fire alarm? Anyone tell me? Okay? Okay, this is the second floor of this building. Okay? And this second floor list, and this is the old part of the building. Okay? This big horseshoe-like thing. There's half a flight down here that's half a light below. That's the second floor. This and that. This is the old part of the building built before fire alarms were code. So on these halls here, every hallway you see going that way, this way, and around the corner, not a single fire alarm. So to get to the closest fire alarm, here's what you do. You go out the door here, okay, hang a left, go down this little half flight of stairs here, and you see this that says corridor here? That's where you go across to financial services, the bookstore, all that kind of stuff. Go through there. That's the new part of the building. Now, the reason it doesn't show here, that's now on the first floor. Okay? You did half a flight here, you didn't go down a single step here, but that's not first floor. That's what I'm showing here. As soon as you come into that new part, there's one hit this way and one that way. That part was built after fire alarms were coded. Okay? So, that's where you have to go. So, yes. I would say 2 people go, not just one, in case someone falls down the stairs, the other one can still do it, and make sure the fire alarm goes full. Great idea. What else might we do before we leave the building? Okay. Say again?
Call security.
Call security. Perfect. Now, most of the door I come in, there is a sign right there that says Campus Police, and it has 2 phone numbers, one for Birmingham and one for Bessemer. If I were you and I had to say, I don't bring my cell phone to class, I don't want to run it coming off, going off while I'm teaching. So I don't have it up here. But if you have your cell phone, most of you will, not a bad idea to put that on speed dial on your cell phone. Bessemer Campus Police. Therefore, if something would happen, if you saw something happening, anything such as this, you can just hit that and go straight to police. So that's the phone that some police person, even if they rent a cop on weekend, has that on his belt or somewhere on her body so that they have it. It's not an office phone that someone may not be in the office right then. It's with whoever is doing the patrol for the campus. So get that number. So that if you don't have that number, the good backup is 911. Okay. Better to call campus police. They will get to 911 immediately. They have a direct way to do it. But if you don't have their number, then do 911. Okay. So there we Notify people in the building, notify campus police. One more thing we might want to do, since the thing is blazing here. Blazing here. Fire extinguisher. Where's the closest fire extinguisher? Anybody know? Now this, right there, about 5 feet from where I'm sitting, right there. You can't get much closer to that. There's a fire extinguisher. I'm going to speak for you guys. Now maybe you gals up to it. But I know that when I was a kid, I thought, we need to treat that glass. You know, there's a hammer there, there's everything there. You never can do it. This time you get to do it. Now, you gals, if you've always wanted to do it, you rush out there and get it first. Okay, but be careful. Yeah, someone get a fire extinguisher. I can handle that if we need to. Okay, then what do we do? Okay, leave the building. How do we leave the building? What's the closest route? Y'all may not be familiar. This building was built like a maze. Okay, so it's not easy to get around. Here's what we do. Go out the door here, hang a left, go down that half flight of stairs there. The bottom of that half flight of stairs, there's a stairwell to your left. Go down a full flight, and then head out of the building. Okay? Away from the building. Because if something were to explode, glass is going to go that way. So get away from the building. Okay? Now, do you say, ha, head for the car, I'm out of here, no more class today, the room's on fire, we're through? No. Okay? What you do, now they used to say just go 75 feet that way. They've changed that now. This is not a great picture, but here we are in this classroom right here. Yeah. In this classroom right here. Okay? And what we do, we go out of this door down here, that's this exit right down here, and go to that parking lot right across there. Don't get in your car to go to the parking lot. Okay? After I fought the fire, done whatever I'm going to, I'm going to pick up my grade book, my roll book with your names in it, and I'm going to be sure I'm with the last person out of here. If one of you that day is sprained an ankle or something else, had a skiing accident, whatever, and you're moving kind of slow, I'm with that last person going down, and we meet as a group down there in the parking lot. I call the roll, and if we can't find somebody, that means some fire professional or me or somebody else has to come back into a burning building looking for you. Okay? Do not leave. Stay together as a group. They will get us word. Hey, that's all for today, folks. You can go home. Then you go home. Or, hey, we got plenty of room in these other buildings around here. We can continue classes here. Or, there was a false alarm. The fire's out. Nothing. No harm, no foul. Go back to class. Okay? But don't just take off. You could be putting somebody else's life in danger. Okay, now that's not just for fire. What if there was a chemical spill somewhere in the building? Same procedure. Get out of the building. Okay? Hopefully it would be in this room. And if you hear the fire alarm go off, we proceed very orderly out. I'm the last one out. I take the roll book. We stay as a group. We may even have a fire drill this term. They usually let us know that it is a drill. But the main thing is, on our way out, we do not panic. You move at a reasonable pace, quickly, reasonable pace, but you don't run. You don't push, you don't shove. You go out very orderly. You don't want people falling down the steps. Okay? That's another problem. We got to get an injured person out of a burning building. It's much easier getting healthy people out of a burning building. So take it easy, take it reasonably. Speak. Don't go crazy. Okay. Any questions on fire or any other internal emergency? So there's one. Two more safety issues. What do they do?
Tornado.
Say again?
Tornado.
Yes, this is pretty good time. We've had so many pretty serious ones. I just heard on the way in this morning there were suspected tornadoes somewhere in the Midwest. I think Missouri. Either yesterday or over the weekend, they're still investigating. It can happen. Tornadoes or any kind of severe weather. What do we do then? Well, what we'll first hear is the siren. Now, guess what? You're going to hear it before I will. I'm hard of hearing, okay? But usually even I can hear that. So what do we do? What's the rule? What do we do?
Get away from the windows.
Stay away from windows. So that means we get out of the classroom. But we also go to lowest level interior. The interior part gets us away from windows. Lowest level means if trees start falling, they don't fall on us. You know, we get in a protected area. So where is the lowest level interior from where we are here? Well, we go out the door here, hang a left, go down that half flight of stairs, hang another left, go down one complete flight. But before we went out, this time we go in. So we're on the interior. The first floor looks a lot like this one. Okay? The first thing you see here when you come back into the building are the restrooms. And believe it or not, they're pretty safe places. And here's why. Because the walls are close together and there's lots of corners. That's where the greatest strength of the building is in the corners. Okay? And close walls give you even more strength. Open ceiling like this, if that tree comes down, there's a good chance the ceiling's going to come down too. Okay? But the wall, this wall is not going, especially this corner, or that corner, is not going to be affected as much as the middle of the room. So interior and better closed floor. Now, downside of the restroom, I think it's pretty obvious. You're going to be there a couple of hours. That may not be your favorite place to be for a couple of hours. Other downside is there's no emergency lighting, and there's a real good chance power could go off if we have a weather emergency. Pretty major tornado is going to wipe out everything. So, therefore, the restroom may not be your first choice. Well, there's actually a couple more steps going down past the restroom. The base of those steps, right under that corridor here, is the academic dean's office on this campus. Now, she's seldom over here. I probably shouldn't say that too loud, but she's mostly on the Birmingham campus. But when she's here, or somebody else, like the associate dean, or maybe someone running a summer enrichment program or something, they sometimes use that office. Well, guess what? That's the interior. You can't get much more interior than that. And guess what? On that first floor, that back wall here, behind that wall is soil. Okay? That first floor is actually below soil level on the back side. So that is as much strength as you can get. So that room is not bad. Don't break into the office if someone's in there and they let you in. Again, closed room, closed corners, closed walls, you know, not a bad place to be. But not that many people get in there. If you go on down that hallway, underneath this classroom here is a lab. It's room 160. It's a big open space. This back wall is very good because it's up against soil. The corners are quite good. And any of the walls are okay. You're pretty far from the outside, so there's not a good chance anything will come in on it. So that's not bad. Right next to that is you enter the library from the hall here, the class doors there. Enter the library, and the first room to your right is a computer room. The walls are closer together. That back wall, again, is very, very secure. That's not a bad place to be. Okay? The next room in from that is what I call the reference room. That's where the atlases and things like that, not books you check out, but you just use the reference. That's not bad. Now, it does have some bookshelves in there, and if there's a major shaking of the building, things could fall, but that's probably not going to happen. That's not bad. But don't go any further. Go any further in the library, you're in an exterior room. Don't go any further. And actually, one of the best places would be the hallway. The hallway is all interior. The walls are relatively close together. The bad news is no corners, okay? So you don't have the strength of the corners. But the hallway has emergency lighting. So if we do lose power, at least you're in the light. And we were up for math meetings at Athens State University several springs ago, and the keynote speaker was probably 5 or 10 minutes into his talk. Really good speaker. It looked like it was going to be quite enjoyable. The alarms went off, and we were down inside a hallway of an adjacent building, actually, because that building didn't have a basement floor. We were down there for a couple of hours. Thank goodness there was emergency lighting. Not the greatest ventilation, but it was okay. And we sat there, and then they said, going home. Weather is still unstable. So we got drove all the way to Athens to hear 5 or 10 minutes of a talk and come back home. But that's what you do. Okay. And by the way, you stay together. Don't say, hey, the dog's inside, I better go home and get them out. No, leave the dog alone. Dogs are okay. You stay where you are. Worst thing to be in what weather is on the road. Do not go there. Okay. Stay together, go downstairs. I'm coming along with the last person out of here. In case anyone's a little slow, we're going down. I'm taking my book. I call roll to make sure everybody's accounted for. If you're missing, then somebody, probably me or someone else, has to go upstairs in a dangerous situation trying to find you. Okay? So please stay together. Once we call roll, accounted for everybody, then you can mix and mingle with friends, but stay safe. Okay. Any questions about weather emergency? So here's internal emergency, fire, chemical spill, get out of the building safely, warning people, that kind of stuff. External emergency, go interior, low and interior, weather emergency. What's the third? That's 2 out of 3. What's number 3? Yes, active shooter. We never even used to worry about this much. So think about it. Nowadays you got to. Okay? Here's another bad news situation here. I'm already hearing if there's a pop, pop, pop going off, y'all are probably going to hear it before I will. Let me know. What do we do then? Second? Okay, very, very good. Here's a few steps of things we can do. One thing I want to do is make sure that he, usually it's a he, there's been a few she's, but mostly it's he's, can't get in. Well, this door is unlocked from the outside, and I have no way to lock it from the inside. I do have a key for this one, which y'all saw this morning, so I will have to go out in the hall, lock the door from the outside, and don't you be pulling the door. Okay. So, and then I come back in and close the door. Okay. We can still get out. He can't get in because it's locked from the outside. And we get away from this window. We don't want him to see. We turn off the lights. We don't want him to see. Anybody's in here, the door is locked. They're afraid they could lose the projectile. Whatever, so he thinks nobody's here. And you're absolutely right. You get right over here. He can fire through a wooden door. That will slow down the bullets, but it's going to be really hard for him to fire through a concrete block wall. Especially if he can't get very far from it, he's going to get as much coming back at him as more than we get coming in to us. So this is what we get. Be very quiet. Now, at that first sound of gunfire, somebody picked up that cell phone, called campus police or 911. Okay, make sure the emergency people know this happening. Okay, but then we have another problem, don't we? There's another classroom right over there. I don't have a key for that classroom. Now, if it's locked from the outside, we're okay. Okay, if it's not though, here's what we do. I can go in here, and this one does have buttons here. I can press the button, and this is locked from the inside, but not from the outside, so don't lock this door. That lets him in, but doesn't let us out. Okay. Now this door has a deadbolt, but I don't have a key for this door, so I can't lock this. However, this door. Okay. Now you can't see, but that door over there is closed. If it wasn't closed, I'll go over and close it, or whoever is doing this, go close the door. Okay. If it's locked from the outside, fantastic. But if it's not, and if there's a class in there, we get them to come join us because we can't lock that door. But I can lock this door here. Now it's open from the inside, but locked from the outside. So this is the door we lock. Okay? And we close it. Now the bad news is it's got glass in it just like this door. Okay? So we're going to close this door. We can't lock it, but we can close it. And that way, even if he gets there, he can't see in here and see that anyone's in. And we're going to close this door for good measure. Just don't lock this. Okay? And then we all get back here and get as quiet as possible. Okay? Someone's called 911, and after that, no more noise. Turn those phones off. We don't want Mama call, hey, I heard there was a shooting. Are you okay? We don't want the phone going off. letting them know somebody's in here. Okay? Turn your phones off. We get back here where it's quiet as possible. Okay? Now, if we need to, we set up a barricade. We do whatever we can as long as it's quiet. Okay? Now, if everything works okay, we're fine. If somehow he manages to get through, breaks the glass there, finds out that door's unlocked, we can't lock it, stuff like this, make his way in. You are our future. Don't be a hero. Most of my life is back here behind me. If anything's going to happen, I'll take care of it. Okay? You are the future. I'm the past. Okay? So if anything needs to be done, I will do it. Okay? Don't you be a hero. You protect yourself, protect each other. I was in the military, so I think I know sort of how to take care of myself. Okay? So let that happen. I don't think it'll ever get there, but if it does, let that be. Okay. That's it. Any questions on any of our safety issues? Hopefully it won't happen. As far as I know, I've only heard one community college somewhere out in California, Midwest, or somewhere. But most of the time, it's either been universities, big universities, or movie theaters or concerts or things like that. So hopefully it won't happen. But be prepared if it is. All right, we're going an awful long time. Now I forgot to get out my watch. I have one on my computer. Y'all need a bladder break? Or just a stretch break? Move around break? Or you want to keep going? Let me know something. Move around. Let's do it. I need a bladder break personally, but I could go without it, but I'd rather do it. So that's when we come back, we'll actually get started with calculus. Okay? So I'm going to turn off the projector for now, and we will pick up. I'll turn off the recording, so we won't be recording a lot of dead time.